Let's go. 4 forms of writing a linear function. What are they? Is it still blue? It's not blue, it's off. What are the 4 forms of writing a linear function? Give me one of them. General form. Yes, sir. Well, yes, ma'am. General form. What does it look like? Without having to flick back in your notes, what is general form? Amelia, hit me.
X plus bx plus c.
By plus c equals 0. There's some rules here. What are they? A must be positive. What are some other rules? B must be a whole number. Close. B could be negative. A must be a whole number, but B must be... No. A is the whole number. Whole numbers are positive. You're right. I know what you mean, Muskan. You're right. I'm just trying to get the proper, most proper word out of you. Starts with an I, ends with an R, has integer in the middle of it. Yeah. Go Jaden. Yeah, what's your favorite kind of toast? Cinnamon. And of course, what about C? Has to be an integer as well. Now, if you forget the word integer, what are you really going to remember for this? What isn't allowed to be there? Decimals and fractions, right? Now, some of you actually have issues with how to fix it if there are decimals and fractions there. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to take a quick moment . Is that in general form? No, of course not. Why? Right, A and a B are a fraction, yeah? Everyone understands that, right? Okay, so I have to do algebra to get it into general form, don't I? Well, what do we do in algebra to make something that we don't like disappear? The opposite of what we see, yes? Well, I don't like 1 divided by 2. What part of that don't I like? The 1 or the 2? The 2. So I don't like divided by 2. So what would I do? I would multiply by 2. But over here, what don't I like? How do I get rid of that? I would multiply by 3, right? Well, you're intelligent young people. If I got to multiply by 2 and I got to multiply by 3, what am I really multiplying by? 6. Right. It's the end of the day. I know. Right? If I multiply by 6, this would all disappear and we'd be in good shape, wouldn't we? Right? Okay. Good. So that's general form. What's general form's ugly cousin that we don't need to talk about, but we do have to know it? Standard form. And what's the only difference? What's the only difference? There's no 0. It's ax plus by equals c. Now this one's a little bit tricky because c... Oh, no, it's not. It's all the same rules. C has to be an integer. It could be negative. But a still can't be. Everyone's good? And then there's the last 2, which are slope-intercept Now, in graphing, slope-intercept is really important, right? Because it makes it super easy to graph. Yeah? And it's also a real good way, if you have the graph, it's really easy to get to slope-intercept form, yes? Like if I graphed this, you could put that into slope-intercept form super easily. Even if you think you can't, that's what we're going to spend today doing. So you'll be okay. And then lastly, there's, what color haven't I used? Kermit green. Point slope. Which I don't know why they call it point slope. Makes much more sense to call it slope point because we call it slope intercept. But whatever. Yeah. So, we are going to use all of these forms today. We may be moving between them. We may be just starting with one and sticking with one, depending on the question. So you all have a read of number 1 there. What form am I obviously going to use? What form? Pardon me? Slope-intercept form. Why? Because I have a slope and because I have an intercept. And it literally will take 1 second. By the time I finish this sentence, all of you should have written down what the equation of this line is. I'm going to keep talking, and that was a semicolon there to make sure that everybody gets this written down before I end this sentence. But it's getting very difficult because I need to take a breath. I still didn't see everybody's pen move, but whatever. Y equals 5x plus 4. All of you should already have written that down. Yeah? Now, all I want to do, and again, this is strictly a math class thing, all right? The whole point of this day's notes and this assignment is to get you good at moving stuff around so you can deal with it later in math. There's no new skill here. There's no real life application here, really, but there is, but we'll get to that later. Our main goal is to reinforce your ability to do algebra, all right? Because algebra, second only to fractions, is a horribly realized skill from high school students, okay? Let's go. Standard form means what? We've already written it up at the top. AX plus BY equals C. Now, if you are yet still cannot see the similarities between that and that, your name should be written on the board for X block tomorrow. Because those are the exact same things, aren't they? There is a number with X. Oh, a number with X. All right. There's a number with Y. Oh, there's no number with Y. But there is a number with Y, because what's the number that's really there? 1. And a number by itself. Oh, 4. Right. So what do we have to do? What do we have to do to make this look like this? Rearrange it. Now, can we rearrange it in the grade 4 way that Mrs. Bad Crumble taught us? Sure we can. We could go y equals 5x plus 4. Okay. Well, I don't like this 5 here because it's supposed to be on the right. So I'm going to go minus 5x. And if I take 5 away from the right side, I better take it away from the left side. And then, I have to have a number here, 4. So 0 x's take away 5 x's is negative 5 x's plus y, because there's only one y there, equals 4. Oh, and now negative 5 isn't allowed, so I have to multiply everything by negative 1 to get 5x minus y equals negative 4. Right? That's what you actually did. Of course, by the time we're in the 10th grade, we have a shortcut, don't we? Which is what? We just move it around. 5x supposed to be positive, right? Does it matter if it's on the right or left? Of course not, because 4 equals x or x equals 4. They're the same thing. So 5x isn't going to move. This y is going to come over here because I need my x's to be with my y's. It's going to become negative. And then I left a 4 all by itself, right? Except right now the 4 is over here with the x's and y's. Where must it be? On the other side of the x. So I move it over here and it becomes negative 4. And some students in my math class actually have such a limited grasp of what is happening in math that they think that is not that. None of you are in that spot, are you? You are all well aware that the thing highlighted in yellow is the exact same as the thing highlighted in blue, right? Okay. Now, of course, general form is super easy. Where does C have to go? And what's going to be left? 0. So obviously I just need to move this over here. And I get 0 equals 5x minus y plus 4. And now I have all 3 of them. All of you should be able to do that literally that fast. You should be able to look at it and go, zip, 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 done. Because all you're doing is moving stuff over the equal sign, right? When it moves over the equal sign, what happens? It changes signs. So now let's write an equation from scratch. Just like we did up above. What are we going to do with that? What form are we going to use? Why would we use point slope form, Braden? Because unbelievably we have a slope and a point. So, do you have to memorize point slope form or do I give it to you? Of course I give it to you. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Well, where do you see something in there that we have here? Gersil. You have 2/3 for a slope, and slopes equal m, correct? So what can I write right there? 2/3. Lovely. Now what? What else do I know? Gersahil. I know x is 6. Now, I can see I have 2 x's here. Which one should I use to put that 6 in? Does it technically matter? No. But one of those is where we put it. Which one? x1. So x minus, what is our x that we know? 6. Lovely. Now I got to do the y. Y minus, what is our y? Minus 2. Hey, wait a minute. Minus, what does that become? Y plus 2. And there is my answer. The easiest way I could find it, using the slope and using the point. Right? Now, you're smart young people. What are we about to do with that? Change it around. So, turn the page over. I will rewrite it. Y plus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 6. I want all 3 other forms. Is there a set way that you must convert these? Can you do any order you see fit? Of course you can. I, of course, can do all 3 in any order I want, as can you. I have just written it in this order. So, let's do it in this order. Standard form, ax plus by equals c. What do you see, up here that you do not see in standard form? Fractions and brackets. What should we get rid of first? Fraction. Okay. What in this makes it a fraction? The 3 on the bottom. What math is 3 doing? So what math do I do to get rid of 3? I'm going to multiply this side by 3. So I've got y plus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 6. And I'm going to multiply that by 3. What then must I remember to do that a great many of you are going to forget to do? I have to do that to the other side, or it is not equal anymore. That is why you have to do it. It is important that you understand why you are doing it so you may remember to do it. Right? Everybody understands? How many cups are in my right hand? How many cups are in my left hand? Are they equal? Okay. I then multiply the right side by 3. How many cups are in my right hand? Are they equal? No. I shouldn't need to do that, but we'll see if it will be helpful come test day Friday if somebody forgets to do this side of the job. What happens to that 3 and that 3? Why? With enough bananas, I can make a monkey go, But I want to know why. When you're dividing, you're multiplying the opposite. Oh, I didn't hear the R. Dividing and multiplying are completely opposite. So if I have 2 divided by 3, and I multiply it by 3, that's 3 over 1, right? 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2 times 3 is 6. No, I didn't. 6 divided by 3 is 2, yes? So why we are allowed to cancel is after we do all the math, what's the only thing that's left? 2 over 1. We don't write 1 as a denominator. We're only left with 2. That is why it works. So, on the right-hand side of this equation, I now have 2x minus 6. And on the left-hand side of the equation, I now have 3y plus 2. Fortunately, I've been in Mr. Myers' polynomial class, and I know what to do with brackets. What do I do? I'm sorry, what? Well, I haven't done that yet. That's what we're doing right now. We're getting rid of the brackets by distributing right now. That's okay. As Gersahil just said, we will distribute here and get 3y plus 6 equals 2x minus 12. And now I'm awfully close to what I need. You can finish it off. Should take you literally 2 seconds. Go. How do I turn this into general form? What's the only thing that has to move? What moves? And what is C? 18. 2x minus 3y minus 18 equals 0. Now, slope-intercept form. You've got all kinds of options. But I personally find it easiest to go from general or standard form to slope-intercept form. That's just my move. Okay? Now, what would I do to get slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b? What's the only thing I do? What's the only thing I do? Pardon me? You isolate the y. So, 2x minus 3y equals 18. What do you want to do first? Pardon me? You're going to move the x? Okay, so negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 18. Now what? Pardeep's giving us the first step. Somebody else step in. Tag in. Rylan wants to divide by 3. Oh, he's going to do 2 steps at once, you crazy man. So y is going to equal what? 2/3, because 2 negatives make a positive. 2/3 x. Oh, there you go. No problem. Now, some kids like to go from this one, y plus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 6, like to go from this to slope-intercept form. Is that easy to do? All we do is isolate y. So what would have to happen right there? I'd have to move that over here, right? And I would have y equals 2/3 x minus 6 minus 2, yes? Then I would be forced to distribute here. Y equals 2/3 x minus 6 times 2 is 12, minus 12 over 3 minus 2. 2/3 x. What's 12 over 3? 4 minus 4 minus 2. 2/3 x minus 6. And I would get the exact same answer. Does it matter what you do? No. Does doing either one of them use different skills? No. It's just algebra. Okay? Okay. Oh, barf. How are you going to do 5? First of all, you need to know that it's slope-intercept form. I gots to find the slope. If I know the slope, I'd be in good shape, yeah? How am I going to find that slope? You could graph it and count, right? But we just did a graphing unit. We're working on the algebra side of things now, right? So, go ahead. Yeah. Now, remember how I said last unit you could do both? And you can still do both. But in this unit, I'm not giving you a test. I want you to use the algebra in this unit, okay? Even if you were a county grapher person in the last unit, which is okay, I want you to use the algebra in this little mini unit, all right? So, as Braden says, we write it out. If I write it out, is it possible to do it wrong? It really isn't, and yet you people still refuse to show work. Which of these is y2? Does it matter? Who decides? So somebody decide. You're going to make that one y2. So what does that make that one? No, that one. x2. What does that make that one? y1. What does that make that one? And then you just fill it in. 4 minus 5 over negative 2 minus 1. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. 2 negatives is 1/3. Now I know m. Y equals 1/3 x plus b. How do I find b? Because right now we have 3 letters in this equation, right? We only know how to do algebra when there's how many letters? 1 letter, right? You can't do algebra with 2 letters. You need 1 letter because you have to isolate 1 letter. What is the only thing there I don't actually know? I don't know b. What? How do I know x and y? They're any point? How many x's and y's do I know there? One of each. How many x's and y's do I know there? Are they both going to be on the line? All right, so does that mean both of them can go here? One of them is a good idea to use here. One of them will cause me a little bit more grief, but will still work. Green or blue? Which should I use? Why green? Okay, that's Braden saying, I want to stay away from negatives. Cool. I would say because green has an x as 1. So doesn't this just become 1/3 with no x? It just disappears. I don't need to do any work. Plus b equals what? 5. So now what do I have to isolate? So where's this going? So I get 5 minus 1/3 equals b. Now some of you will look at that and say, ugh, I can't do fractions. But you can. Because what is 5 take away a half? No. 5 take away a half. If I have $5 and you take $0.50 from me, how much do I have left? 4.5, right? So if I have 5 and I'm taking away 1/3, how much do you have? He waited patiently for his class to do this. 4 2/3. So now I know B. So what's my answer?
Y equals 1/3 x plus 4 2/3.
Could I write this another way if I wanted to? I could write 14/3. No, that's right. I could write 4.67. Mr. Myers would let that go. He would wonder why you did it, but he would let it go. All right. Okay, look closely at number 6. Tell me what you would use. Say it loud and proud, man. Why would you choose slope-intercept? You've got a slope right there, and look closer. Look closer. Why do I only have a point, Jazreet? Because it's an x-intercept, isn't it? Why is that question there? To make you read and be careful. So, Jazreet says we cannot use slope-intercept because we do not have a y-intercept. What do we have? We have an x-intercept, so 2, 0. Now that I know this x and y, could I now do slope-intercept form? Because, of course, y equals mx plus b. There's a y, there's an x, and there's an m. I'd be left with b alone, right? Could I do point-slope form? Could I do that one? Because I've got a slope right there, and I've got a point, 0, 2, and 0. I could use either one, correct? Great, do them both. Go. Making me do math in math class. I hate that, Mr. Myers. Because if there's one thing that... I know, Braden, but if there's one thing that North Americans don't like doing, it's what they're supposed to be doing. Because it doesn't matter what you're supposed to be doing. You don't want to be doing it. Now, some of you will say to me, but Mr. Myers, that thing that you wrote in green and highlighted in yellow isn't one of our forms. But it is, isn't it? Because, of course, right here, it is one of our forms. But we would never write that 0, would we? Right? So this is still point-slope form. So the question becomes not whether you understand this. The question becomes, if I gave you this, would you recognize that the point here is 2, 0? Would you? You have to answer that question for yourself. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay. Wow! This is going much better than I was expecting it to go. Which means, dare I say it, I'm moderately optimistic for Friday's test. No, we'll have it Friday because tomorrow's a short day. Oh no. Or is it exactly the same question? Imagine that, math following a pattern. What do I have in question 7? Okay. So can I use, what form should I use? Since I have a point. What form should I use? Slope point. So I've got my point. There we go. There's my x and my y. Now in point slope form, that's the x1 and the y1, right? But what's missing now? The slope. But I know that the slope is going to be parallel, son of a brother, to this guy. Does that tell me the slope right now, or do I have to find the slope? Find the slope. What takes me from standard form to something that will show me the slope? Rearranging it to what form? Slope-intercept form, which means what has to be isolated? Y. Do I care at all about 7? Why would we? 7's the y-intercept. We don't care about it. We only care about the slope. So, all we got to do is isolate y. What's moving? 4y equals what? And then what? We don't care about the 7 because we only need the slope, right, Jacqueline? But we can write it there. Then what? By 4. Y equals negative 2/4 x plus 7. Do I care about the 7? I only care about the slope. Would I ever leave that slope that way? Would Mrs. Bag Crumble be happy? What do we make that? Negative 1/2. Now, do I have a slope? Do I have a point? So all I got to do is flip to the sheet Mr. Myers is going to give me on my test and put these values into point slope form. Y minus y1. What's y1? 1 equals m, the slope, bracket x minus x1. So minus 3. So how do we fix that? And I'm doing math. And it's that easy. Right? So now, is 8 going to be almost the same? How did I make 8 different? Perpendicular. So what do I need to do to that slope when I find it? Flip it and flip the sign. Go. Find me the slope. The actual slope I need. Remix. is the slope that I will actually be using, Jacqueline? Positive 8 over 1, so just 8, right? Isolate y to get negative 1/8, then reciprocate it, 8 over 1, change the sign. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. There's x1, there's y1. Y. What do I write here? Plus 2, because we're now at the point where we can skip a step, right? Because we have done enough practice. Equals 8x minus 3. Nice job, Pardeep. Now, work with your neighbor to write 5 equations here. I will do 5 different colors. I will do a light blue. I will do a dusty rose. I will do a Kermit green. I will do a purple. And I will do nothing rhymes with orange. Go. Go up a little. Yes, I can. Which one? Are you comfy finding the slope? Yes, go. So we isolated y and got a slope of negative 1/8, yes? But it needed to be perpendicular. So what did we do? To 1/8, we reciprocated it, and we changed the sign. So we got positive 8. Yep. Now that's my new slope, and then I just put those in. Okay. How many of you are actually doing these in A, B, C, D, E order? Because, of course, C and D, you could just write right now without even thinking about it, right? And then you'd be like halfway done and you'd get the marks. I'm just saying. You go ahead. I'm going to have... Oh! I'm all out. Does anybody want the magic pen? Come up and do one of these. Which one are you going to try, Jacqueline? You're going to try C? All right. You don't even need to come up, Jacqueline.